Dear traveler, and welcome back. Today we're having a quick little look at a very contentious subject, very controversial. It's the old adage of full frame versus crop sensors. And why would I be talking about this? Well, that's because of the last video that I made where I kind of poo-pooed onto Fuji cameras having the old crop sensor, and saying that I don't like the look, and a few people were like, what look? So I just thought I'd make a quick video, just a quick little tinkly of video, just to try to explain to you good folk, to you good little eggs, what I'm talking about. Because I think the main misconception here is when people talk full frame, they think background separation. They think that the full frame look is background separation, and I cannot strongly disagree with that more. I don't believe that is what I'm talking about. So buckle up. I'm going to be making probably the most jam-packed video full of misinformation and just personal experience from the seat of my pants. Just be prepared for that, okay? And destroy me in the comments. I don't really care. I make videos for the fun of it. But this video, I want to try and explain to you guys why I think full frame sensors is the go, right? It's the move. You've got to go full frame. So let's smash into it. Now, here we go. I've got a few photos I've set up, okay? And I have painstakingly tried to match the two images. One was shot on the Canon 6D Classic, and the other one is shot on the Olympus E500. Now you might think, why do you keep talking about these cameras? You've made so many videos about these two cameras. Are these the only cameras you own? No, I've owned many. And I've bought and sold more than I care to remember. But these two have always stayed in my collection. I wonder what that means. I wonder what it means that these two cameras are still remaining in my collection. Anyway, so if you look at these images, I've worked painstakingly to try and get the same image and to capture the same spot, the same place. Both of these images are shot on 50mm equivalent lenses. One is shot on a 50mm equivalent lens on the Olympus, and the other one is just shot with a classic nifty 50 lens on the Canon full frame. Okay, so now I've tried to get the images the same. Now looking at them, honestly, in this kind of comparison, I'm not seeing too much of a difference. At this point in the video, I started to double guess and think, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there is no difference to full frame and crop sensor. That's where I was on this image. Look, you're obviously seeing the background separation as we're focused on the artwork in the background. You're noticing the foreground is out of focus with the full frame, and with the Olympus, it's not. But of course, like I said, I don't care about background separation. That to me is not the full frame look. So forget about that. Now I just want to use this moment while we look at this picture just to say there is something about that Olympus. I don't know what it is. These images are straight out of camera. Like the colors are way off. These images are just straight out of camera. But the Olympus, there is something about the way this thing renders images. Like there's something lifelike and dreamlike, and it's just absolutely gorgeous. Oh, I love the Olympus so much. Now we're starting to see what I'm talking about. It's starting to become more apparent in this image right here. So if you look very carefully, one, you're going to notice the background separation, because you know what, I'm a little bit of a dum-dums, and I didn't realize that, well, at the time, shooting in low light means I would have had to open the aperture further, so you're going to have more background separation in the full frame, because obviously it's a 1.8 lens. I'm opening this thing up more, you're starting to see that difference more. So just try not to worry about the background separation at this stage. But look carefully. This is what I'm starting to notice. With the Canon 6D, you notice that the foreground, the subject, is almost the exact same size. They're almost the same size, has the same sort of weight to it. It's filling up that frame roughly the same amount. It's looking good, okay? Definitely more background separation and that 3D kind of pop with the full frame. That's a given. I don't care about that, but it's a given, and it's a little bonus that I'm like, hey, a little bonus round. But what I want you to focus on is look at the background, right? Look at all that jumble of mess in the background. Now, if you notice the background, there's these little pigeonholes where, you put little things, those little pockets. Notice that on the Canon 6D, you can see less of that. They're kind of cut off. It's like a tighter, it's less compressed. The background is less compressed. Whereas if you look at the Olympus, you start to notice, it's actually like a wider field. It's very compressed. The background has more clutter in the image than what the full frame has. Now, this might not mean much to you, but to me, I feel that the less compressed it is, you end up having an image that reads better, and just the foreground, the subject, just pops out a little bit more because there's less clutter in the background. Okay, now we're going to take this to another shot, see if I can sort of explain this a little bit more. Can you see in this shot now, I've got a little backyard shot. Please understand, these images are all just rubbish, right? I'm just trying to explain this concept to you so you understand what full frame means to me, and why I get a little bit over, I get a little bit sick of crop sensors for this reason. Is that the background, again, if you look at this outdoor shot, because I went outdoors using big brain, a lot of big brain energy here. I'm using the outdoor shot so I can drop the aperture, try and get the cameras to have a similar aperture, which is what I did on this image. Still, you're seeing more background separation with the full frame. Again, I don't care about that. But if you look closely, again, look at the background. The tree in the back is more compressed in the Olympus. Look at the fencing. There's more fencing in the Olympus shot than there is in the Canon shot. I know it doesn't seem like such a big deal at this stage, but I really do feel that if you're doing portrait work or some kind of subject, having that subject in the background less compressed, it just simplifies. It's like this breath of fresh air. It feels more relaxed and calm in the background, which then accentuates the actual foreground and the actual subject that you're shooting. And to me, that is the advantage, the actual advantage of a full frame sensor. Now, does this only apply to full frames? No. The bigger the sensor, the more this is going to happen. I believe that, medium format, large format even takes this to the next level of having this uncompressed background, and just puts more weight onto the subject. And is this good for all types of photography? This is where we run into a problem. This is where we run into a bit of an issue, because you thought this video was about me slagging off crop sensors and saying I hate crop sensors. You're incorrect. Congratulations, you're wrong. This isn't what this video is about. It's the reason why I think and I enjoy shooting full frame much, much more, plus medium format and larger if I ever can get my hands on large format. That doesn't mean that crop sensors are useless. They're not useless. They're actually very, very important. And if you're using, a 500mm zoom lens because you're taking a picture of a little bird, having your little crop sensor is going to be great, because, you're going to have more reach on a crop sensor. So that's a massive advantage. Also, what happens if you're in some kind of scene where you want to take in as much of the background? You want that compressed background. Maybe you're using a wide angle lens and you just want to compress as much information into the shot to get this, real, super wide angle look. Well, mate, crop sensors is going to be it's going to be go-to, mate. So that's awesome. Also, what happens if you're doing like product photography and you want to try and get a little bit closer and a little bit more information in there? You're going to have a bit of a background. I don't know. There's some of these scenarios where I can see a crop sensor working better, if I can use that term, better. It's a bit subjective, depending obviously the scenario. But for me, full frame, if I'm doing portrait work, taking photos of family, anything like that, I feel that the bigger the sensor, the better. If I can take it in large format, if there was such thing as a large format digital camera and it was reasonably priced, damn straight I'd get it, right? Damn straight I'd get it. I wouldn't even have to think about that thing. It would just be bang, in the cart and at my house, but in the next day. But of course that doesn't exist. So why wouldn't you buy a full frame? Oh, because they're too expensive? Bro, full frames have never been cheaper in history. They are now next to nothing. You can pick up a full frame camera for $200, $300 Australian, and that works out to be what, like $20 US, right? Full frame is the cheapest format now to get a hold of. The lenses are pretty cheap. Get a nifty 50, you can't go wrong. And that's a great little setup. Would I sell my crop sensor Olympus? Never. Did I sell all my Fuji gear? Yes. That's interesting. Why would you sell all your Fuji gear because you didn't like crop sensor, but you kept the Olympus? Because the Olympus, I'm telling you right now, I don't care about X-Trans and all this stuff. I'm telling you, that Olympus sensor is absolute pure magic. I know I've said this a bazillion times before. That lens is pure absolute magic. There is something about that lens, and for the price I got it for, it's never going to go. That thing's staying with me for the rest of my life, okay? 6D is going to stick with me as well. These are the cameras I held on to, right? You've got to think, like, I go through a lot of gear, right? And if I'm hanging on to this stuff, there's got to be a reason for it. So for me, I'm hanging on to this. This is my review of why full frame sensors are better than crop sensors for my personal usage and how I see the image and read the image different to a crop sensor. But guys, hit me up in the comments below. You know, welcome me back to YouTube. Thanks for hanging in there. And I look forward to forever catching you on that there next one.